Alrighty, here we go. It's art. I'm in a new directory here, doing some art today. This is something new. I've done. I've spent a lot of hours in this room, in the just over the year that I've lived here, drawing. Well, playing Destiny, and more recently we've got this set up so I can do art down here, and even more recently we're set up so that we can stream it. So that's this view. If I change it to this one, there's WD-40 in the background.
What's up?
The tech support is here. And today, so as our first demonstration here, we're gonna do
What?
what's that?
We're gonna do what?
It's a WD-40 is a Wisconsin Badger. So where is there we go.
Well, I live in Wisconsin.
Well, he lives in Wisconsin, right? So we're gonna do a Badger here, and it looks like this. If I put that up there, right? So there's the reference photo. This is a 16 by 20 inch canvas panel that we're gonna do a charcoal drawing on, and we start with where'd it go? Oh, there it is. There's different types of charcoal. This is vine charcoal. Actually, sorry, this is compressed charcoal. That's why it's square. The vine charcoal comes next. But I'm literally going to come in here and just make a mess. Hans Zimmer is going to make this sound way more epic by dint of the fact that he's got this on here. I have a drop cloth on the floor so that when I put this stuff all over the canvas, I'm not just indiscriminately like ruining the carpet or grinding charcoal into it here. So you always want to be careful and responsible. Right? I'm literally just toning the canvas. The next piece of equipment here, this is an expensive art supply. This is a makeup sponge, okay? And I'm literally just gonna drag over and about this charcoal in order to get a more uniform surface. So I just don't wanna see like my marks of charcoal. I just want sort of a gray to start. I do need to turn down the music just a little bit. There we go. Thank you, Hans. Appreciate that. It's a little too dramatic to start. At this point, the number one job of the background for any work of art is to stay in the background, right? So I don't want marks that are compelling our attention or dragging it up front. So this is literally just toning a canvas because, as author Stephen King once said, blank paper is God's way of saying it's not so easy to be God. I don't want to start with a completely white surface. It's a little intimidating. This makes it so it's not so precious, number one. And number two, it's also in the middle. I can erase this and make it lighter, and I can add more charcoal and make it darker. So here we go. So thank you to the makeup sponge. That's all that was. Now I can come back in with vine charcoal. This was once a tree. It's been burned in a reduction atmospheres, which means I get this nice compressed stick of charcoal here. And we're just gonna start drawing. I have I don't know if you can see it on the stream here, but there are grid lines. Like this is 1/3, or I guess 25%. This is halfway, right? So I've got these little lines right here. I actually, full process. If I take I'm not a big fan of math. I try to keep math from intruding into my daily life, my artwork as much as possible. So what we did here was I took a piece of paper that's 16 by 20 inches, right? And then I poke some holes in it, right? So math is math, but here, this is artful math. I can take a piece of paper and fold it in half, and then I can fold that in half, and I can fold it in half, and I can fold it in half, and hey, that's a grid, right? So while it's folded in half, I don't know if you can see, if I take the corners and snip them out, I'll end up with the world's worst paper snowflake, or a template for a grid with those little lines on there. I can put that on there and go dot, 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 dot. Take that off, and hey, we're good to go. Now, when my students are doing this, I'll often have them. They'll be in here and they'll draw like the full grid. I could actually draw the grid lines in there. I don't want to do that for two reasons. Number one, I don't need it. I don't need that level of support. And number two, whatever I draw, I gotta eventually erase, right? If you go to like, I'm gonna start drawing here. I got my reference image. I want the version of it that has a grid superimposed on it. I just have to find where that went and turn that on. There we go. So the grid is a temporary thing. Think about like when you go and you buy a burger, you go to Five Guys, you buy that burger, they wrap it in foil, and then they hand it to you and you take it back to your table and you eat it, right? Because that's what the foil is supposed to do. You wouldn't want a burger wrapped in foil that they then put in a bag and then wrap up in duct tape, and then they put that in a box and then nail it shut, and then they stick that in a vault and then wheel it over to your that'd be ridiculous. You don't need that level of support on there, so it's completely unnecessary. So where is it? Halfway between there and there. That's the halfway point. I got an eye. He's right in here. Hello, Mr. Badger. I come over here. Halfway between that grid and that grid is right there. So I come in right here. I got another eye. Where is that? Here, here. Is that my tech support coming back in?
Your music is very loud.
I need the music to be softer. Yes, that would be.
I
think everybody agrees. Yeah, that it is just too loud. So it's all right.
How's that?
We're figuring this stuff out. I mean, that sounds good.
We'll check it upstairs. Looks good.
Thanks. The badger. Badger. Actually, where is this? I got a big dark shape right here. So at this stage, one of the best things about charcoal is it is extremely forgiving. If I make a mark or a line and I don't like it, it's it's gone, right? So there is no such thing as I'm not overcommitting or anything. I'm not even particularly worried about being super precise or accurate at this point. Where is this? Where's this little feet? We're gonna go in here. This is the bottom one, right about there. So I've got some. His little claws. Nailed it! All right, and then I'm in here. Got some more claws on this side. His arm is roughly, approximately. We're doing this. And one of the things that I try to encourage my students, when you're working from a reference, the reference is a starting point. It's not a binding contract, right? If photography it had all the answers, then it would have killed off fine art a long time ago. But it turns out it doesn't have all the answers. People will still come to me like, hey, can you take this photo and turn it into whatever? I suppose I need to be, I'm sorry, I'm in full teacher mode. I need to remember that I'm also a streamer. So we've got Geo with Beat the Devil Out of It. Alpha, hey, good afternoon, welcome. Traxxas is here. WD40 saying yo. Geo says he needs the sticky note back to remember to read his chat. Yes, indeed. Alpha says, I love that you're final doing this, Master Chief. Art explaining this has tapped out my entire artistic ability. Bob Ross for the next gen. Here we go. Yawk Dog, hey, good afternoon. This is cool. Where are you and who's with you? So yes, we are in full teacher mode. So WD40 actually is visiting me. Like this, he's returning to his old stomping grounds. He's originally from New Hampshire. He's back in town, so he's staying in one of my rooms upstairs. And yesterday we spent time setting up this camera. Actually, I can hide this now. We spent time setting up, this camera. So we have the ability to do wide shots here. If everything's working, yeah, there we go. So this is my office. This is my room. If you look back here, wait, where is this the wide one? Wait, what is I do the canvas one. Maybe that's what it is. So it's been up here for a year. This is Cade 6 on the wall on masking tape. Where is? I thought there was one. If I put this on, hold on. Oh, there we go. So if you look behind me on this face cam, that's the streaming setup for Destiny. Right? So you can see, that's my gaming chair. Those are my monitors. That's where Destiny happens. This is on just the other side of the room. I have one more drafting desk in here that's underneath this camera, but we've got room to do it. So here we go. So yeah, this is the lair that so we've got all this stuff. So the double monitors are for running the stream. I have one monitor just for Destiny Item Manager because Bungie, that's what you've done to us as a community. I can't play your game unless I have a whole monitor devoted to managing inventory. Right, and then one more monitor for that. My underground lair. Missy, hello there. Good afternoon and welcome. I hope you're doing well. Nice to hear from you. Nice to see you. And your uncle WD-40 is very comfortable. He's staying in your room. But so one of the best things about working in charcoal here is the fact that it is so it's so forgiving. Normally you try something in pencil, and if it isn't the right thing, it's like, right away you messed up, and then you feel like there's no recovering. But the but charcoal lets me try all kinds of stuff. So I have a quick basic sketch. Sorry, bear with me. I appreciate everybody's patience here while I'm learning. These are new buttons that I'm pushing here in order to pull up the reference. So there is that's the picture that I'm looking at the same time I'm doing this. And the next step is just to literally come in here and start throwing down charcoal, like you mean. Oh, wait a second. That's supposed to be white. Never mind. Just kidding. I'm gonna lighten that right up. So I got a little bit of a black stripe coming in here, and then a white stripe, and then a little bit of a black stripe over here. Right. So I almost made it a little bit too aggressive there. That would have made him a European badger. This is, of course, a North American badger, as WD-40 hails from Wisconsin these days. So part of today's preparation, I went ahead and I looked up the differences, right? That there are, in fact, substantial differences between the African and African and the European swallow. Between the European and the American badger, North American badger. And I could tell you what all those are, but I'm afraid that would like completely exceed my bandwidth for doing this. Why is that chirping at me? Okay. I mean, other things I'm doing as I'm shading this, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm trying to remember to rotate or revolve this in place, so I can it sort of self sharpens. Okay, it's charcoal. It's messy on purpose. So it's just one of those things where if you like to keep things neat and precise and careful, and I do, for a lot of work, but I'm not particularly worried about it. For the if it's a charcoal drawing, it's a charcoal drawing. Okay. Related to that, or the act of letting go, I am definitely, it is soft vine charcoal. Yes, Missy charcoal. Well, actually, so if you just arrived, or if you weren't here to the start, so this is compressed charcoal. It's a square stick of charcoal. I toned the entire canvas. We're drawing on an 16 by 20 inch canvas. So I toned it with this. And then now I'm coming in and drawing with vine charcoal. In fact, if you look at it, you can see this used to be a stick. Once upon a time, it was a piece of organic material that's been burned down to just vine charcoal. So what we're doing now is we're taking a standard paintbrush like you would find for a house, and I'm just going to go over this. And this is the part that's exciting / nerve-wracking. But just the act of going over this is going to blur what I've got, and also help pull things back. All right, I just want to take it easy. There's a lot of back and forth here. So now I'll come in, and if it's time to get a little more detailed or precise, where are we? I think I was actually supposed to spray it. Just before I did that, I was like, for some reason, I seem to have obliterated more of my drawing than I meant to. That's okay. We'll definitely we'll bring it back. Meeples, good afternoon and welcome. That easel's too clean. The easel's brand new. I haven't been doing that this long. This is the third charcoal drawing that I'm doing. My easel's pretty smudgy, it's dirty, right? We're getting into it. But I did a practice in the style of, I should probably make a command for Joel Pilchers, the artist that I'm emulating or studying, in order to draw like this. I did a practice one that I just grabbed a picture and went from the internet, and then I did I have a commission that I probably shouldn't be flashing around on the stream because it is a surprise for a person that is close by here. And then, moving forward, we're hoping to do lots of stuff. We're gonna make this dark back here. Again, I'm back to a makeup sponge, so just from my theater and ballet days, leftovers. I want that background to stay in the background, so I'm just gonna tone that like that. At any point, I tell my students that I should have one of these in my hands all the time. So this is a kneaded eraser, just for my body temperature is up. Time to get a wireless headset for the art stream. We are gonna, this is sort of a hybrid activity. Right now we're sort of taking what we know about streaming Destiny and we're moving over here to this station. I don't want to be wearing these headphones for sure when we're doing this. We'll definitely be. I'll get some. I think I have some earbuds that we're gonna use, but we needed to get a little Bluetooth thing. But we'll get there. Artist ballerina. No, Geo, I am a semi-retired dance dad. So my dance days are probably behind me for the most part, but yeah, so like the act of holding this in my hand for a couple seconds is gonna let me stretch it out. So this is a kneaded eraser. Kneaded, right? Kneaded as in like bread dough as opposed to like kneady. What did the career counselor say to the baker, right? It looks like you don't need this job. You're only in it for the dough. Okay, so like I'm needing this, and the best part about this is that when it's time to draw, I'm gonna come back in here, and the magic that happens, I think, for this style is when you come back in and start to erase like those bright lights, those highlights. That's what's gonna really sell the image, right? So if I've got an ear, going up there, I'm gonna put that in there like that. I've got another ear. Where is he? He's over here. Put this in here. I've got an eyebrow ridge. Okay. And this is pressure sensitive. The harder I push, the more it takes off. Like if I go easy on it, I can be like, hey, I can get a little something out of there, but I'm really not interested in going all the way hard. Alpha Prime with a need command. Yeah. I need it. Yeah. So typically in a typical class demonstration, I'm talking for a few minutes, and then I'm getting students started. Like, all right, everybody think we see what we're doing here. Why don't we spread out and you guys all go for it? And then I can quietly circulate around the room and then check on how everybody's doing. Is today an art stream? Vast, today is an art stream for right now. The idea here is that I'm going to spend a couple hours, crank out a drawing, start to finish. Sorry, I ate M&Ms. Oh, I love M&Ms. Definitely make my throat a little scratchy. We will be streaming Destiny tonight. I'm gonna crank out this drawing. I'm gonna take a break, eat some food. We'll come back and we'll be definitely streaming some Destiny tonight. I don't know what that is. There's something spilled on there. That ain't supposed to be. Like it's resistant to. I just unwrapped this today too. It's literally like it couldn't be any newer or fresher than this. I read quickly at first, Missy, and I thought you said burger. I was like, what kind of burger? Right? Badger. So we are drawing up Wisconsin Badger here. Gonna go back and forth. It's like I got to turn my brain from light to dark. I raid the kitchen burgers. Yes, they can say I could start the Pantheon right here, right? Like next week will be I'll be drawing a tapir for all of our friends in Russia and CIS countries that have been refunded since they can't play Destiny anymore. All right, with all the tapir errors that have been like non-stop. Wait, is that correct? Hold on. Is that what I think it is? Oh dear. I lost my grid. Now that's that, which means this ear. Oh, just kidding. Where is this ear? Boop, boop. Give me the halfway point of that and that. All right. Now, if I get stuck or if I start to think that I might be making inconsistent, like here's the wonderful thing about grid squares. A square can be divided into 4 squares, and that can be divided into 4 more squares, and that can be divided into 4 squares. So if I say that's that, then the top part of this ear hole is actually over here, which means his ear is over here. Like I had a structural error there. That's a light shape that's coming up and down. Where is his eye? It's like where is this? Where is this? I'm losing my grid dots. Is that a grid dot? That's a grid dot. That's a grid dot. So that's halfway. So what's half of this grid here? Yeah, this is over here. I need to move his eye over. Like this. Like this. All right, I was close. And I'm sure Bob would agree. There are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Art, you're such a square. Oh, I hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. It's Saturday, which means I taught 4 hours of classes this morning. We had classes from 8 to 12:30 as we usually do. And now I am having a weekend here. These erasers are amazing. I can shrink it down. I can stretch it out. You can stretch it out. It's moldable. I can turn it into a blade, like pinch it into a little bit of a blade or whatever. If I want to come in and say I need to draw like textured fur. If I want to be more specific or tight or accurate, like I need to come in and I want little stippled dots for the texture on his nose. Like that's all good. But using an eraser is it's an important tool. It's not just an undo button, and it's something I have to keep reminding my students over and over again. If you only treat the eraser like an undo, you only reach for it when, oh no, I made a mistake, then it's like one step forward, one step back. You're not taking advantage of the fact that the eraser is a tool that can advance your drawing in different directions, right? It's only there to catch you when oops, I messed up. So let's get a really defined cheekbone in there. Sugar Wolf. Well, we were yeah. Am I a variety streamer now? I mean, here's the thing. Bungie is definitely. I have something spilled on the canvas there, or actually, you know what? It's not spilled because I was careful. We literally unwrapped this, like I took it out of the plastic moments ago, so it means there's a defect in it. So I'll have to figure that out. But I don't have to figure it out right this second. But as far as being a variety streamer, like there's never been a better time to sort of diversify, right? In terms of Bungie is making it so that like and this is a first for me. Like, this is the state of the game. And I don't want to turn it into like complain fest or anything, but like there have been more times where I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be doing this or this or this, or there's lots of things I'd rather be doing other than grinding K1 or the Caldera solo ops in order to get my level to go up, because that grind is just not nice. So actually, I will have to make sure I let my friend and mentor David Peterson know that I'm streaming art. He's been after me for years to do this. So have lots of people, but he was he's also on Twitch. I need a better canvas. Well, yeah, this is a student grade canvas here that we're using to start out with. What makes it student grade? The fact that it's canvas stretched over. I don't know if I can get this out of here without causing a big problem. Let's see. Or do I have any other ones? So it's a thinner canvas. It's mounted on cardboard, right? It's already got a little bit of a curve to it, right? So it's good enough. But if you were making like art for the ages, oh, if I can get it back in here now. Sorry, I know that I'm shaking the camera. All right. As opposed to a canvas, what do you call it, a gallery quality canvas would have like stretcher bars, canvas stretched over it, kind of thing, right? So it's just a little more sturdy, easier to put into a frame, far more likely to remain like square, true, and 90 degrees, right? But also way more expensive. So Glacier, hello there. So the song, oh yeah, the question is, can we do? Is it time for the stream to do songs? Like, have we graduated to that? I don't know. WD-40, I forgot to even ask. Is it possible? Did we solve the issue with a? Thank you very much. A Rudy22 with a 27 months. I appreciate the sub. Thanks.
Loving the art stream.
Hey, thanks. What was I gonna say? Am I allowed to have the fan on? Did we solve that question? I can't remember. It's currently off and it's getting warm. What was I gonna say here? Where am I at? Oh, that's all white. That's all white. His ear is connected to the side of his head. When I do an animal pick like this, do you have a specific inspiration or do you go off imagination? Oh no, I'm definitely using a reference photo. So that's what I'm looking at on my laptop here. So I'm checking out chat like a good streamer, right? And I'm also looking at a reference photo next to me. So that's what we're working from. That is the goal is to get him looking like this. So or modulate the pressure. I don't want that to be, I need light and medium and dark. So 2 values is the minimum. All the way light, all the way dark gets us like, you know, a black and white high contrast thing. But the goal, I'm really hoping I can get at least 3 values, light and medium and dark, right? And then that begins to describe form in a more subtle and nuanced way. So you can have something that is like not just 3-dimensional, but like, hey, I can tell how it's moving in space, right? The tools we're using here, we're using Vine Charcoal, which is a very soft, like, you know, charcoal. I'm using a smudgy, like technically this is a squishy, right? It's an eraser that is like a kneaded eraser that I can use to lift out or make a reductive mark out. And then a shading stump is just really, really tightly wound paper. And of course, like fingers, right? Because it's charcoal, right? So you get to do all that stuff. You like seeing arched shoulders. Am I in the way again? Wait, hold on. Do I do this? Wait, that's on. So I have to figure this out. Like ideally, all right. Now, if I stand here, right? Why is this thing in the way? Okay, I don't need that. Delivering gradients from white to black. I mean, slicer. Technically, right? There's the very first computers, I believe, were displaying what 256 shades of gray, right? Because that's what they were like, oh, that's all we'll ever need, right? And then they went to color in the mid 80s, and after that, like, you know, thousands of colors, millions of colors, right? I gotta ask myself, do I want the background darker? I think I'd like if the light source is from high and on the right side, then I want the background is going to set off the badger. So the badger is going to be slightly lighter in front of a slightly darker background. So I got to put this in here, and I'm going to try to use the sponge to like grind it into the canvas. I want it to stay. And I realize it won't stay all the way, and that's all right. But if that part stays like that, is the audio desynced? I can try to hold my lips still when I talk. Oh, you know what? WD-40. I say because this was a little bit different. I didn't do my usual pre-flight was to go in and reset the camera delay. But also, I guess we're using. This is a new camera. This is a new microphone. This is a new, you know. So I'm normally over there, like, you know. So we're still figuring this stuff out, for sure, for sure. I want this badger to be, in general, a little bit lighter. All right, and I do need. Forgot that I'm gonna have to touch my beautiful white Astro headphones with my charcoal covered fingers because we're working on this. But I had to go over the next tool we're using. This is an automatic or electric eraser, so I have the ability to like to erase with like, incredible detail and precision. Are we on the we're on the canvas one, right? Yeah. I wish. I have something directly in the way. That's all right. We'll figure it out. So when you're serious about erasing, right? This is the guy that is gonna come in and make it like crazy bright, right? I want to take some of that all the way down to like the the bone white that it was, and then I'm going to transition that back in and out. Like this stripe on his forehead, that is going all the way over. I want to bring that right back. So this is just an eraser in a holder, different sizes. I'm going to put that in there. Have you ever sold some of your artwork? Sure have. Yeah. I used to do a lot of portraits of people. For a while, I was doing a Geo with a celebration. Where did I put my? Oh, there it is. For a while, at some point, somebody asked for like a dog, and I did a dog, and then I did another, and I did another, and I think it was like 6 years in a row. I was just doing a lot of pets, and I was like, "Is this it? Have I reached like? Is this the terminus of my career? Is I'm the dog, portrait guy from now on?" And then we moved on from that, so it ended up being okay. But Slice asks, "What artists inspire you?" The let's see. I should have a command for it, but so like I can find his YouTube channel, but there's a charcoal artist named Joel Pilcher, and that's where this comes from. So he's the guy that I was looking at his art, and I like the idea of going to draw on canvas. So it's not just charcoal drawing, but drawing on canvas. It's gonna allow us to really bear down and like you can get mean, like, and almost treat it in a way that like paper would just give up and be like, I can't even, but the canvas is like, all right, I can handle it. So I'm looking at charcoal artist Joel Pilcher for the inspiration for this series of drawings each year. As a teacher and an educator, I'd like to think I'm committed to being a lifelong learner. So I'll end up I try to pick an artist and I'll emulate them. Like, so first I'll look at their work, and then I'll straight up like just copy it. I'll do something exactly as close to what they can as possible. In other disciplines, that's called plagiarism. In the world of art, that's called practice. And then I'll branch out and try to do my own stuff in that person's style. One of the first steps to having your own style is being able to look at and analyze the style of others. Still gotta figure out where to stand here. Got this really strong highlight on his chest. And then before you know it, it's over. Mr. White, good afternoon. Hello there. And hey, I see Smitty's here. It's Art Ross. I am, in fact, wearing one of the shirts that my daughters gave me for Christmas a few years ago. This is the official Bob Ross Just Beat the Devil Out of It t-shirt in reference to the way that he cleans those paintbrushes. I'm not going to do that down here because that would fill the air with a fine particulate dust of charcoal, which we're not trying to do that. Slice, I could draw some D2 inspired stuff. In fact, I have. I'm literally sitting here with some of my friends on the wall behind me, right? So we've got like these are framed on my wall, but these are the character portraits I did. I've got JD here, I've got Smitty here. Danielson is here, Alpha is on the wall, right? So up until recently, so that was I wanted to branch out and I started doing some digital stuff because I was hoping that would help me go faster. Too much of my work was going crazy slow. And I don't mind being careful. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but things were slowing way, way down. So I was like, all right, what can we do to go faster? So I started working in Procreate, hoping that would be the answer. Got some creepy nails. Badgers, like, I guess they're good at digging, huh? Like they prefer areas where they can really burrow in and dig deep. Elaborate burrows. That's true. And if I know it's tough to see here, but on the wall behind me, this is the Cade 6 is on the wall behind us here. This is I don't know, I don't have a wide shot of the wall, but one of the first things I did when I moved in here a year ago was I had this blank wall in here. I'm like, I could do art up against that wall, or I could put art on that wall. Alpha's threatening to frame the package that I sent as well, because the drawing of Shax. Okay, actually, hold on. I need to bring back this light. I gotta remember to stand. I have to go into teacher mode here to remember that I need to stand in a way that you're not just looking at my arm. So we'll figure this out. By Dobbs asked you to request for drawing. So yes, I guess the short answer to that is yes. This request is going out to my manager, my technical support, my good friend WD40, who's actually in town visiting. He is from Wisconsin, so it seemed only fitting that he asked for a badger, is what this one's for. Other commissions I've done. This is going out to the door to somebody who specifically asked for a tiger. So we'll be doing this. This one's just about done. Just needs a little more love, and it'll be out the door. I have a dog that somebody's asked me to do. I need to get going on that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the to-do stack. Oh boy. There we go. trying to see if I can actually see his hindquarters in my reference photo, and if something is indistinct in the source photo, then that means you have permission to leave it indistinct in the final version, right? Inventing detail that's not actually there or actually present is a recipe for running into trouble. Sorry, where is, there we go. The state of cheese. I don't know, like, oh yeah, if you're getting mod checked, that's just because I am a school teacher. So shout out to everybody that spent time this morning with Mr. Artful in class. I taught 2 sections of drawing 1 and graphic design, and those students are certainly, they're welcome to stop by and say hi and stuff. But because we are a school teacher, because I am a school teacher, we have to have the strictest possible settings on. This is a painting brush. It's just a brush that you would use for painting, and now I'm just gonna, like, use it to blend my charcoal. So it's not anything special or magical or in particular. I'm just using it because I want to get soft fur-like marks, right? If you take your, like when it's time to do like illustrations and we're drawing hair and stuff, I tell students like, what's, if you're trying to draw hair, like using a pencil is like the slowest, worst possible way to do that. It's, there's nothing less efficient. If you take hair and you drag it through ink, what kind of marks are you gonna get? It's gonna look like hair, right? That's because that's what it's good at. You know? Oh, I'm getting charcoal fingerprints all over my laptop, which is, I suppose, just part of the plan. Absolute favorite thing about charcoal. If something's not working or you're not feeling it, just smudge it. Do it again. If you get unlimited up at bats. My students do know I stream. We have this. I think we pass that threshold every year when I get new students. Right, September, a whole bunch of new students roll in here, and they have an opportunity to to meet their teachers and get to know them. And then eventually, some of the older students will tell them, Mr. Artful streams. And that, like, so we'll come into class. Is it true? Are you streaming? You're on Twitch? Like, yes, it is true. I am streaming. I am on Twitch. Just checking in with my reference here. It's coming along. Aquaside asks, how long until the kneaded radius becomes unusable? So if I come in here and erase something with it, like if I'm erasing, you know, details or texture, right? And it gets full up, the act of kneading it will sort of rejuvenate it. Now I don't know how this works, right? Because like now it's all light gray and pretty again. So it means one of two things: either it's shedding the charcoal, right, and it's just leaving. I guess one of three things: it's absorbing it, and eventually it'll become so darkened that it won't be usable anymore. Or what I like to think of is that it's actually a portal to another world. Like Earth 615 is covered with charcoal dust, pencil shaving, you know, all kinds of stuff that we've been sending it for years, right? Because all I got to do is knead it some more, and then now it's good to go again, right? The fact that I can if I want to scrub a really bright highlight in there, right? I know I can do that. Now that I've got that there, now's the time for me to come down and be like, all right, and now I want to erase down here, but not at full intensity, right? You don't need, everything doesn't have to be the same. If every look at music, different notes, different volume, different intensity, whatever. So I'm going to do the same thing with value. Sometimes I want something really, really strong. I want to highlight on the top of that ear. And then as it starts to move down here, we're definitely going to like move into the dark. I don't want it to be quite so brutally dark. Where's that paintbrush? That highlight above the eyelid, that's useful. It's a little too intense, so I just want to come in there and brush that back just a little bit, so it's not quite as strong as it was. I'm gonna file a complaint with Amazon. Actually, today's stream is brought to you in large part because of Amazon. Hey, pork chop! Thank you very much. I appreciate that. 28 months. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate you. Uh-oh. Is that that paused? No, it's not. It's okay. We're still going. Time to get that other eye in there. So every portrait, everything with a face has a dominant eye, right? And obviously this one, this composition is very, very straightforward. Like that's the dominant eye. So this is the subordinate one. Or another way to think of it is like, this is the pilot, this is the co-pilot. As long as the pilot and the co-pilot agree, they're looking at the same place, unless you are a chameleon staring straight ahead and also looking at that fly on the wall that you'd like to eat, right? But for the most part, like anything with binocular vision, I just want this other eye to be in here, and I don't have to do a lot. I just have to get it to, like, I just want to hint at it, and it just needs to be willing to agree with the other eye. It doesn't need to be like stating its own thing or whatever. I just want it to look like, hey, I've got two eyes, and they're you know, we both agree that we're over here. Badger with attitude. What do I use to protect the picture? So what we'll be doing here, at a certain point, I'll be spraying it with a workable fixative. So this just locks it in place. It's actually got a lot in common chemically with hairspray. And in a pinch, you could use hairspray instead of workable fixative, but this protects pencil, pastel, chalk, charcoal, okay? That's gonna sort of lock things in place and allow me to do other things on top of it. And then when we're done, it gets like it gets a protective varnish, a coat on it that will. Oh, the horse is upstairs. Like I have one upstairs that's this size. It's all done. Like you could eat off it. I could eat spaghetti off of it and then wipe it up, and it would be, the drawing would be fine. I don't recommend eating off of art because there might be, you know, other stuff that happens in there. But yeah, this planet, because it's got so much water, we have a very humid atmosphere. If you have dry mediums like charcoal or pencil, or pastel or chalk or whatever, like when paper or whatever the support is on, it swells up and it expands as it absorbs humidity, and then it contracts and it expands and contracts. So if you took a charcoal drawing, hung it on the wall 100 years from now, it'd still be there kind of, but there would be a line of charcoal on the floor. Hey, thanks. All right, so this one's done. All right, so this is it's been sprayed, and at this point I would feel totally fine. Like there's nothing going on. Like I don't know, you can even see how there's like a sheen on it. Okay, so same thing. It's on a canvas panel, but this one's been sprayed, and it should be, you know, I can just chunk it into a frame or whatever, but it's not going anywhere. I mean, at this point, it might be might be getting a little darker now that I'm like, you know, rubbing my charcoal encrusted fingers on it, but. Definitely working in a temporary medium, you need to be ready to you know, lock it down and protect it and be like, hey, this is how we're going to make sure it stays around for more than just a few minutes. So should use my left hand. The number one rule when drawing hair, and I would by extension say that also applies to fur, is respect the flow. So if I'm drawing fur, it's incumbent upon me to make sure that I'm making marks in a line, in a direction that indicates how is that fur moving, right? If I want the fur sticking out, then I can't be going in a direction that doesn't make any sense. So I'm doing my best to come in here and say, hey, hey, slick that hair back, then I'm like, that's how the strokes are going onto the canvas. So respect the flow. That is what it's all about. Every Ben Parker is probably really annoyed in Earth 615. I told YouTube just to bring me a playlist of music that I could, because I'm over here and I can't be going over to the computer every couple minutes to change the soundtrack. So we're listening to Hans Zimmer. So that was a little bit of Lion King. I feel like the Badgers would. I hope the Badgers were represented there, right? And included in the coronation of Simba. And that sounds like the Chevaliers of Saint Graal from the Da Vinci Code. So it's the playlist Hans Zimmer. We're listening to Hans Zimmer for the next little bit. Try to find a way to get lower in order to work on this without blocking the camera. Hey, W40. In a few moments here, I'm going to step away because we're going to need to spray it with some stuff. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I lost a claw. Transcriptions for the jazz band. There you go, Alpha. Look at you, working on a Saturday. That's the job sometimes, you know. I think lots of people would be like, "What do you mean you only work 160 days a year?" But when you're at work, really at work, like they warned me when I first started here in a boarding school. It's like it's more of a lifestyle than anything else. It will take over. I think I've progressed enough for this next part. This is not something I would have come up with on my own. But the artist that I was looking at, Joel Pilcher, he's doing this in charcoal. And then he's just, I have a spray bottle. It's filled with acetone. So it's basically like nail polish remover. But what it does is, we're going to take a second to just look at this. I like his face. I feel like it's coming along, right? I squint at it. The overall, like things are evolving. So this is a little bit of like high risk, high reward. I'm going to spray this on there, and it's going to do a couple things. It's going to give it some texture. It's going to allow the charcoal that's on there is going to get sort of stuck in there, but it's also going to do a little bit of a dissolve thing and add some texture to it in hopefully a fun way without ruining it, right? So here we go. The acetone would just give it texture. Yes, Judy. But at the same time, it also gives me stress. So here we go. I'm just going to like just spray this on there. I want more of a stream, less of a spray. What if I do that? Oh gosh, that's exciting. Look how exciting it is. And the texture is what it's all about. I really want the idea of like there's texture that's just baked into it now that I didn't have to do anything to get it there. Like it's just on there, and hopefully stop before it gets runny. Maybe a little bit right there. Woo. Yeah, cleaning the art. Well, it's doing something to the art, but that's a step that I wouldn't have thought to do on my own, because anything that feels like you're taking a risk or whatever, that can be scary. So we're just gonna let that dry for a second. I'm going to then the next step is because I really want to start layering some stuff up. I want to add more darks to the darks and add more and then bring those lights right back. I'm gonna take it outside and spray it. I gotta do that outside. Acetone is acetone. And I can kind of smell it in here, like, oh, who's doing their nails? But this stuff I gotta go outside to do, because that's just not a good idea to be doing it indoors. So we'll give it a second. Is Hans still at work for us? Oh yeah, we got the YouTube videos continuing to go. The beginning of the year, Alpha was working long hours to prep for everything. Things have died down a little bit, and we've hit a groove. There you go. That's the that's it. When I first started, they used to say things like "be mean to Halloween." Like you've got from the start of the school year until the end of October to sort of get habits in place that are going to be, happening for the rest of the year. All right. So, all right. Hopefully, I think I have a "be right back" screen. And I will be right back. I'm just going to step outside and spray this. All right. How long have we been doing at it here? Let's see. It's a Master Chief approved stream time of 117, like an hour and 17 minutes. We just recently sprayed this with acetone, which has given it some texture and some pop. I went outside, sprayed it with workable fixative. We let that air dry, which is very quick to evaporate. And that means that now I should be able to come in here and make my darks darker, my lights lighter. Taxideus. Wait, no, what is it? Taxidea. Taxidea taxus is the American badger, as opposed to the European badger, which is the Melis melis, right? Why do Europeans get off the hook so easily, right? The rats are like the Rattus norvegicus, or whatever is the brown rat, and then there's just Rattus rattus is the other one. So I've got a light source high and to the right side of this guy, which means I want low and to the left. It's going to be in shadow more. That's where. Did I not lock that in there enough to? Oh, definitely not. What is? Oh, hold on. That's crooked. No soup for you. Good afternoon and welcome. Hello there. Okay, that was the problem. It wasn't straight. You would prefer to Wolverine? Ratchet, hello there. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by, checking us out. Today's an afternoon of art. Art with art. Working on a charcoal drawing of a badger. This is a North American badger, obviously. Not to be confused with its European counterpart. My eraser runs low. We gotta like just get that to poke out a little bit, put it right back in there, and then the electric eraser. A pretty cool tool. Another tool that I would not have thought of using on my own, but then the recommendation of another artist was like, you should try it like this. All right. There's a lot of back and forth. A little bit lighter, a little bit darker. Yes, Revelator with a tier 1 sub. Thank you. Good afternoon. Hello there. Simon Broly, howdy. I just want to hint at that one eye. I want one eye on there really, really strong, and the other one I want, it's just kind of there, but it's not really that dominant. And regardless of what's going on in the source image, right? I reserve the right to come in and make changes or edits or like, you know, the source image is the book, okay? Like that's where we're starting from, but it's not a binding promise or a contract. The source image is the starting point, but like, you know, like that's the book and here's the movie. Okay, so like, you know, it's all right. In the book, you know, Harry gets the firebolt in chapter 16 by Owlpost, and McGonagall takes it away in the Prisoner of Azkaban because she's not sure where it's from, because it actually did come out from, it came from, you know, his godfather. We didn't know it was his godfather. We just thought it was somebody shady. It's Sirius Black. It turns out to be looking out for Harry. But ultimately, in the movie, Harry gets the firebolt in the stinger, the very end scene, because, or was it Christopher Columbus directed that one? Decided that like he's gonna move it from this part to that point. So, you know, you should feel free when you're working from a reference to make changes and edits. You make too many changes, it's like, I was having trouble with that one eye, so I left it out. Now it gets weird, right? So we want to, you gotta honor the audience's expectations to a certain extent, but then, you know, you gotta feel free to put your own take on things. So what's going on in the world of Destiny? So today is Saturday. We didn't have Iron Banner this week, so that means it is Trials of Osiris. And I think what is the fusion rifle is the focused weapon. Oh, the epic raid. That's right. I actually mentioned that to WD-40. I'm like, there's no there's no surer accusation that I'm literally turning my back on Destiny than the day that I choose. And this, it just happened to work out. He's here in town helping me set up this camera and that microphone, right? So it just so happened that this is when it worked out for me to branch out and try something a little bit different at the same time that the Destiny community is engaged in the epic raid. So it's not that I have no interest in doing the epic raid. I don't. I have no interest in doing the epic raid. But this is not a like a it's not a statement beyond anything other than like I've been looking forward to getting into the ability to do art on stream for a while, and now it's just time. It's the right time. So burden of guilt, master players. Yes, I'm definitely feeling. Just kidding. I know that's the name of the fusion rifle. Yes, that is the. Oh, that's right. It's 3 rotating maps in Trials. So if you go in to play Trials this weekend, you're gonna get this map, that map, or the other map, right? Which is, I mean, sometimes that's nice, right? Break it up. It's not just the same all the time. Other times I know people are like, oh, this map. Why do I always get the bad one? Well, I appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for hanging out. I know it can be, it's always a little whatever rocky to try new things. This setup is brand new. I will get better at using it. The hardest part about doing this, I think, there's always your first one's always rocky or whatever compared to other ones. I just spent 4 hours on my feet teaching. Normally on a Saturday I come home, and that means I get to spend the rest of the afternoon like sitting in my very comfortable chair over there that is quietly waiting for me to come over and play Destiny. But I've had long days doing other stuff. I can have a long day doing art, and that's I'm fine so far. Risk of art like nodding off and falling asleep while standing up, probably lower than if I was in the chair. King Hazmat. Yeah, I hope we are repping the artful name. You know. Thanks, C. Mercer. Appreciate that. Check in with my reference here. And worst of all, I got to keep track of the parts that are like out of sight because the easel's blocking them. I got to remember that I have to have some kind of plan for what's going on up there. What are we doing here? This is going to be, in this case, let's see, who is that? Zip. No, you're right. It's not Destiny 2. That's right. I'm in a new directory. We're trying something new today. So art with art. We're going to do a live stream here of me working on a drawing in charcoal for a couple hours. I'm going to take a break, get some dinner, and then we'll be back for Destiny 2. That is the plan. So with what I'm doing, it's on canvas panel. So the whole thing looks like this on the back. So relatively thin. You can chunk this into any frame. It's a 16 by 20 inches, right? So when you're done, you can literally, like, I'm gonna spray it. I'll put a varnish on it, but now this is like, it's ready to go. So nice, lightweight, easy to ship, rigid enough to like hold up on its own. It should be fine in a frame without any backing or supports. I will definitely sign it when we're done here. I make these feet work for me. Right. Mercer asks, how are you choosing what to draw and what materials to use? So each year I pick one or two artists and I emulate their style. So I found an artist named Joel Pilcher. And he's the guy, hold on, maybe I can just do this. I'll add I need to, I have tried pointillism. It's detailed and meticulous, and it lends itself to my very like almost like perfectionist love of detail. It's too slow. So what we're doing here, I want to work bigger and faster than I typically do. So I'm finding that like this size, 16 by 20, so that, like this is a horizontal one, the horse, and this is a vertical version of 16 by 20 here. That this technique, the bigger you go on the canvas, the more detailed it looks, right? Like I would rather be working on a canvas this size, right, than a canvas smaller. I have waiting backstage here even bigger canvases that I'm going to try to get going on. But if you want to go big, then you got to go fast. I don't have time to spend 80 hours on a single drawing. So charcoal is a medium that lends itself to that because it's so fast, right? That I can come in here and just make marks and changes and stuff. You can experiment because nothing is permanent until you want it to be, right? So so if I'm in here drawing in charcoal, like it gives me a chance to smudge and scrape and blend and take all the time I want in getting it ready before you like lock it down. So Alpha asked, being left-handed, was it hard for you when you first started? I don't know if you noticed, but like I'm using both my hands. So to a certain extent, if you are left-handed on this planet, you are ambidextrous, right? Like I don't get to drive my car on the other side of the road and be like, it's okay, officer, I'm left-handed. We're doing it left-handed today. So you get used to doing things with a little bit of both. Both of my hands are equally adept at like smudging with a finger, kind of thing. So I don't think drawing was ever hard as a left-handed person. I think there were plenty of other things were, but that's mostly about just learning to navigate the world that we live in, where my brain says it should be like this, and the reality is like, no, you're gonna do it like that. So if you told me I had to write my name exactly the same way 9 times, my left hand can do that, right? My right hand, I have not invested time in learning to do that, so it's an unreasonable demand or expectation to make. I have to go back through there. So I'm used to having my entire screen set to my reference. Oh gosh, I'm gonna clean my laptop when we're done here. But now I'm sharing it with chat. So like I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to read comments and respond to them. But I'm definitely getting used to. It actually feels very similar to like the COVID days, right? When we sent all of our students home, and the expectation was that I boot up, get on, and open a Zoom call, and then hey, here comes my students. I'm gonna spend time together online for a couple hours, and then Like, away they go out the door. So when I wanted to get good at drawing ballpoint pen, I looked at Juan Francisco Casas, Casas. He's a Spanish artist. He's known as the fourth Spaniard, right? So you know you've made it when your country, or at least the press in your country, elevates you to like one of the top four. So you have, Joan Miro, Pablo Picasso, Salvador Dali, and now Juan Francisco Casas. So he's the guy. And warning, if you look up his stuff, there's some spicy pictures in there, right? Like he's got um, some figure drawing that is highly accurate and anatomical in nature. But I definitely wanted to learn to draw in ballpoint pen. So he was the guy that I looked at for that. Um, I just found I decided I wanted to get back into painting, so I found a painter named Jim Musil, Musil, and I'm gonna try painting like him. I've got some I got some stuff that I bought in terms of like supplies and materials in order to try. I'm gonna try it just like him. I like the way that this guy does sketches and then in marker and then like just puts a coat of yellow or brown over it and then builds up his paint layers from that. And I'm like, all right, I'll try it. We'll try it. So looking forward to doing some painting. I know that I like black and white art. I feel comfortable doing black and white art. I feel like everything, things are under my control and I can focus on shapes and value and show don't tell, and there's all kinds of good things that are happening because I'm in my comfort zone. I know that I need to an area of growth for me would be color, that I don't yet feel comfortable making choices in color, and I find color distracting, and I oftentimes like will end up looking at something like, gosh, I wish I had this in black and white instead of color. So that's an area of growth for me. So I found a painter. I'm gonna learn to paint in color this year. Let's see. I don't know when. Used to still electronic memo. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I just I put that out as a disclaimer. Like I'll show my students some of Juan Francisco Casas' work, but not all of it, right? In a classroom setting, like we don't need to. I really want to see a light patch on both sides of this leg. So if I can get that going on. Get that leg popping out and looking like a volumetric three-dimensional form because of the texture and the lighting on it. The other thing, I'm tethered. Technically, I should be stepping back routinely to see what this looks like from far away. And I realize if I do that today, then I'm going for a ride with tearing my laptop right off there. Not bad. I'm on my third drawing, and that's the first time I've had to actually change my electric eraser. Get that guy in there. What is going on? That's like his side. There's two ways to make something lighter. Either lighten it up, right? Or put something darker next to it. In the same way that, like, if I went over to the kids, like the elementary school, and I was on the playground, I'm a rampaging giant, like knocking kids over. You know, I'm an ogre, right? But if you drop me off at like an NBA practice, now I'm like a little hobbit running around, like, you know, please, sir, could I have the ball some more? Like, you know, it wouldn't even compare. So the point of the background is to serve what's going on in the foreground. So if the background needs to get a little bit darker, by golly, it will, right? And if I want the foreground to get lighter, like whatever it needs. Now, if you know, if I leave this alone here and it's obvious that I did something to it, then my job isn't done. So I can't walk away. It needs to be the perfect crime. I got to cover my tracks and make sure nobody knows that I actually did anything. In this case, I can actually give him maybe a little bit of a suggestion of a ground plane, like an area that he's standing on. A little more texture is going to bring a attention to detail up front anyway. So down low, we've got texture, and then the further up, the higher we get in the picture plane, the more I want that just like nothing going on here, nothing to see, folks. You might as well keep on moving up front to where all the action is. So yeah, let's have that ear pop right out of the dark section of background. Actually, I just realized all I have to do is look across the room at the my streaming monitor, and that's the same as like walking away, you know, a couple steps away. Like, oh, I could just do that. really is just goes out and then stops. Huh? Let's see here. Let's see. You went to an art exhibit to see some other work by Andy Warhol. Okay. So Andy Warhol is distinctive because he's sort of like his artistic immortality is that he broke that whole conversation wide open. Like, what is art, right? Like if an artist takes blank cardboard, paint, and a silkscreen and makes a series of simulacrum boxes that you look like they would be real boxes of Brillo pads in a grocery store and puts them on display and says it's a sculpture, and people are like, no, it's not, it's exactly the same as what I could find in the grocery store. I mean, that might be true. It doesn't change the fact that there's evidence of the maker's hand, that he was in there like organizing color, materials, paint, and he purposely made it into something. Now it just happens to look like something you'd find in the grocery store. But the moment people start arguing about is it art or is it not art, he's already won. Game over. That's all he wanted, I think, in my opinion, out of that. He just wanted people to question what is art, what can be art. So when we talk about this stuff in my class, I always ask the students. I'm trying to figure out like what's a frame of reference that they will understand, remember, be able to process. And for them, because this is a Pixar generation, they're raised on the kids that are my teens now were raised on like golden age Pixar. So I'm like, all right, do you remember Ratatouille? Right? What is the takeaway at the end of Ratatouille? Not everyone can be a great cook, but a great artist can come from anywhere. And actually, I love the fact that he says artist, not just cook. You know, he's like, not everyone can be a great cook, but a great artist can come from anywhere. Right? So you got to be at least willing to consider that, like, you know, is it art? Is it, you know, so I mean, I think the more important question is a subjective assessment. Is it good art? Right? Like, you know, and that's, you can have all kinds of lively debates and arguments about like, it's good art, it's great art, it's amazing, it's terrible, it sucks, my kid could do that, you know. So I think it's less important, is it art, and more important, is it good art or do I like it? I'm still young enough and naive enough that I think that most of that abstract stuff is for people who just haven't figured out, like, they need to work more on their drawing skills. Like, they're not drawing realistically. Once they get that, you know, and I know it's a gross simplification. Don't, you know, like, please don't flame me in the comments there. But so more importantly is to be able to recognize what you like and why you like it, in terms of you know, what's art and what isn't art. There's another great the Hammer Museum. I think it's in San Diego, California. They put together a video. It's Will Smith. Wait, not Will Smith. Will Ferrell. Sorry, Will Ferrell, the guy who plays Elf, Buddy the Elf, and Elf, and all that. It's him walking around the Hammer Museum, which is a contemporary art museum, just getting a guided VIP tour by one of the docents there. And they're showing him stuff, and you can see his, like, and they're just like, look, just play it straight. Give us your honest feedback, assessments, and reactions to this. Like, they show him the one exhibit. It's called "The Acrobats Are Sleeping." It's these velvet embroidered pillows that have only been slept on by acrobats. And you can see when they tell him that, he's like, what, you know, and you know, so and you know, some of it's conceptual, and some of it's like, that's a little baffling. It's a little too much for me. And other times it's like, okay, I can see what's going on. But it's a great video on YouTube. You get to watch, like, you know, it's like somebody else's dad just walking around a museum of modern art, like, you know, with their hot takes on, like, this is great and this is like ridiculous. You know? And I think they break the piano sculpture, like, when they're doing that. All right, how we doing? Come on. I'm gonna minimize how much I'm touching my computer because I'm making it filthy. And that's okay. Maybe this is driving Miss Daisy. I'm not entirely sure. Oh no, sorry, this is the holiday. Cameron Diaz and Jack Black and other actors that I don't know. Anytime you're using an eraser to draw, any kind of eraser at all, you're engaging in what's known as reductive drawing. So I can, it's all, drawing is all making marks. I can either add material or take it away. And hopefully you're doing both as an artist. You're not just always adding and adding and adding, because that's a one-way street, right? We also want to be practicing our ability to take it away, to remove. That's the job of anybody like in an editing capacity, right? What do we got here? Like, all right, what's essential or we got to leave in and needs clarification? Okay, what's maybe not essential that we can sort of leave out? And I really want to try to get to a point here where I don't want to have to draw everything. In fact, in my source image, I can't really see what's going on. Like, I can't see his back leg. So I just got to get his body in there and kind of done. I think I'm going to take that down just a little bit. Alpha asked, does WD-40 do this kind of work in real life, or are they just sort of tech savvy? So, WD-40, I'm sure. Well, actually, I'm sure. Sure will correct me if I'm doing it wrong. Works for Epic Software, not Epic Games, but Epic Software. Lives on their campus out there in Wisconsin, and is a programmer. Like he is literally like at a desk writing, code and stuff. Um, so and it's, and just very very tech savvy. So like actually it was so funny. We were just talking yesterday, remembering a lesson I taught where the object lesson was going to be there's a difference between a reflex and reacting and then just thinking about something. So my plan was to pull a tennis ball out and go Pwah! And like throw it at him, and he was supposed to try to catch it, and like a robot stood there and let it bounce off and completely unraveled like the first couple minutes of my classes object lesson. And I was like, okay, so great, we'll just start rebuilding things from scratch here. So it was a fun and challenging student to work with years and years ago, and now I'm lucky that I've got him on here. So you never know, Alpha. That kid who is like making you pull your hair out when you're working with him may end up to growing up to be somebody, like, first of all, a high functioning adult who knew, and second of all, like a real asset to you or somebody else. So here he is. Like, the stream wouldn't be here without Mrs. Artful and WD-40 making this all possible. Try that. My reference photo, that's a really strong highlight in the chest. I don't think it's gonna be that important. Like I'm gonna reassess the like I decide the significance or how important or potent it is. If I need that to step back just a little bit, like, then hey, guess what? You're gonna get a little more gray in favor of that nose is coming out at us. That's right, Mrs. Artful. Trying to decide how much detail I want to get into on his rump here. Like, do I really need to? You know, a rump's like it's like the goalie. You need one. Every team needs one, but hopefully you're not spending too much time looking at it. Like if you're having a great game, you kind of got to go out of your way. Hey, yeah, Timmy, you did a great job in goal today. Right? But if when the goalie's not having a good day, Timmy, we are losing. What's going on? Right? Then everybody's on the goalie's case. So I need enough of a rump Badger buns in here to call it good, but I really don't want everybody like, oh, have you seen the magnificent Badger rump on display over here? It's incredible. If I can just suggest here, I want to show, don't tell. I just want to get people started with, what's going on in that shadow over there, right? Whole bunch of badger fur, right? If I can just suggest that and get people started, then I don't have to actually go in and do all of it everywhere, right? We're just hoping to. Cherry and cream Pepsi? All right, I'll try it. That sounds a little too exciting, but texture in a drawing or a painting is like sprinkles on a. You bake the cake, right? And it's just a pile. It's just a puddle of goo, and you put it in the oven, and it comes out, and then you can frost, and then the sprinkles. So you put the sprinkles on too soon, they just sink inside the cake, and you lose them. You get that funfetti cake. Oh look, I can see it if I chop it in half, right? But like oftentimes my students they get into texture too soon, right? And then once the texture's on there, now it's precious, and they can't make changes and stuff. You really want to like hold off on that. I want to like, and now that I feel like I'm closing in on the end, now I can come in here and say, okay, let's make sure we've got the texture that we want to communicate, like the fur and the fur, feathers, scales, whatever you've got going on. Apologize. I know sometimes I'm stepping in front of the camera there. It's just the way it is. A little more, but I don't want it like screaming for attention. So I just need a little soft highlight. There we go. I like the suggested definition. Like I can see his legs, but it looks like he's hopping over something. So I think I might need to come back in here and just say, hey, the ground plane, like, I just needed to be darker. This guy, he is casting a shadow, right? That's what the animals do. They cast shadows. So Alpha, does that mean you're fluent in middle school now? Right? You can tell what they're saying, right? You're not a complete unk. Your comments aren't always chopped. 6, 7. Yeah, I actually, yeah. Clocked it. Let's turn this around. My face itches. As an experienced artist, I know that touching my face now would be a mistake, and I would end up wearing like charcoal war paint. So there we go. That. I'm. They, I've been accused of farming aura a couple times. Not exactly sure what I was. I didn't think I was doing anything other than like just moving around campus, but. Black Hawk Down. Why do I gotta go? Because you're dependable. Man, I hate being dependable. All right, I am ready to spray this once again. I just want to lock in what I've got and then build up another layer on top. I'm gonna step away for just a minute or two. Is that a badger? It is the badger, Zen. Indeed. So here we go. Just checking in real quick. Here's the reference I'm looking at. I'm getting there. Right-handed shading. All right, so we'll be right back. Hold on, hold on. So this is a very lightweight, small easel. It's portable. It's easy. You can set it up anywhere, and it's, you know, I can stick it in the corner or whatever. I think I'm gonna have to upgrade a little bit to get a slightly more substantial one. I need one of those H-frame ones because I want to put some bigger canvases on here. Let's see what we got going on. Hey Zen, it is Vine Charcoal. Yes, we are drawing a badger for WD-40, who is a resident of Wisconsin these days. So, Vine charcoal is the name of the game. I mean, I don't know if you can see. It's not straight because it used to be a stick. Once upon a time. This is me a wide angle. Let me zoom in here and show you, right, that it's got a little bit of a wonky whatever. It's not perfect. That's okay. Yeah, so just vine charcoal is what we're using. It's very soft, very easy to go, very, very dark. Oh, hot dog. Hello there. Thanks. Appreciate you. All right, so that is 2 hours and 42 minutes. The goal is to do a 16 by 20 inch charcoal drawing start to finish in one go in 3 hours. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired. I have been on my feet, like wearing my dad glasses so I can read things and see detail since about 8 o'clock this morning because it's Saturday and we have Saturday classes at my school. That's just the way it is. Um, I am ready to take a break, sit down, maybe eat some food, and then come back. I'm going to stream Destiny tonight, so that'll be the reward for putting in a full day. So we've got a Badgered by Artful 5. I just want a little punch that up just a tiny little bit. Maybe. Very judicious in our use of white. The human eye is it's a little lazy. It is attracted to bright white. So I want to be very careful when I'm using it, where I'm using it, and sort of like hold it back. We're not using it everywhere, right? We're employing it strategically, judiciously, right? It's like, oh, salt. I love salt. They put salt on all your food. You do too much, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? Got that nose just a little bit. But I think this is one of those things where anytime I think I'm done with the drawing, I leave it up on the easel and I look at it every day for a couple days. And after a couple days, you're like, hey, not bad. Then you know you're done. But if I come back after dinner and I'm like, whoa, I thought that was okay. Like, how did I miss that? Then you know you've got some more work to do. So. Let me check in one more time here. Here's a reference. I love the fact that like simple tools in your fingers, I can do a drawing that's hopefully looks something like what we intended. Yeah, 2 hours and 46 minutes. I can hold square to the camera so you can actually see what's going on. We got a patcher. All right. So that's gonna bring us to the end of our first art stream here. I'm delighted that you were able to be here and join me for this. I hope to do more of this. I hope to get better at it. A little quicker, a little more efficient, and start cranking them out. Not finished until I sign it. Oh, you're right, JD. I should sign it. But here's the real question. Charcoal pencil. What do we got here? HB. Am I still on? So there we go. We got the Artful 5 signature, and I'm delighted that there's a number of people in chat who recognize that and have seen it for themselves in person. So, I'm gonna take a break here, get some food, and we'll be back streaming Destiny. I just have to take this light and move it over there and turn my monitor and get everything over there set for Destiny again. I hope WD40 will be back and maybe it'll help me. But thanks very much for joining me for this. I appreciate it. Looking forward to doing more of this in the future, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Now, I don't know if this is if this is the end screen or if this could be goodbye. We'll find out.